Hi, welcome to the bathtub. This is the masturbator, Scott Bradfield. You have to be careful how you pronounce masturbator, but either way you pronounce it, it's going to be correct. It'll be accurate for the premise of the show. There's our logo. There's the Godfather. They're not related. They have nothing to do with each other. And this is the puppyless edition. We're not doing noir today. This is going to be very short. I keep saying they're going to be short, and then I just yammer on pointlessly about nothing. I'm going to try to make this very short, though. And it's about big books. We're advocates of big books here in the bathtub. So we're not saying we don't like big books. We like big books. We like J.R. We started off wrestling with Pynchon's Amazing Against the Day, which we're going to actually try to read again someday in the bathtub. And we like some big books. We're not as we did. I'm never going to read Ulysses again. I've not done that. So I thought one of the challenges would be to talk about a big book that actually I reviewed. Normally we don't do mixed reviews in the bathtub. We're almost an entirely positive bathing venue. We don't tell people what not to read in the bathtub. But I'm going to say just a couple mixed things about this, but basically recommend it as an interesting book for the bathtub and certainly something you might want to try. It's called Duck's Newburyport by Lucy Ellmann. One of the things I like to do about reviewing is use it as an excuse to read people I've never read before. And I think, frankly, they get it's one sentence. Okay, so it's basically one sentence, and it's a long book. It's an ambitious book. It's trying to kind of encapsulate the horrific anxiety of being alive today, while the crap is happening all over the news every day, is the endless cycle of this idiot Trump and all the idiots running the world, and the Bolsonaros and the Boris Johnsons and the supreme idiocy of the world and the people running the world and the monstrous, horrific events unfolding with the climate and with the killing of animals and the just complete disruption of our ecological world and of our social and mechanical, everything is just being devoured. And the book successfully addresses all that. So I have to give it quite a lot of credit for actually successfully encapsulating all that anxiety. It sets out to do that. And it'll do it in one sentence. The sentence is a fairly simple sentence. It's a list. I want to say this quite. It's how does it start? The fact. The fact. It starts off a page. I'll start the first few lines. The fact that the raccoons are now banging an empty yogurt carton around the driveway. The fact that in the early morning stillness it sounds like gunshots. The fact that even in fog with ice on the road and snowbanks blocking their vision, people are already zooming around our corner, the site of many a minor accident. Okay, so this is, I've already forgotten where this is. This is somewhere up in, I forget now. Oh my gosh. Anyway, it was somewhere up in, I want to say it's in Philadelphia somewhere. Ohio, what I said. Ohio. And it's waking up with a woman who bakes pies and pastries for a living and who has 4 children. She's on her second marriage. But it's not a narrative story. It's basically a list of the facts. And it doesn't tell a story as, say, Ulysses does, where you take a sequence of ways of telling about each hour in the lives of the 2 protagonists. It's not a big multi-character novel in which we move from one character to another in this kind of rampaging nightmare of J.R. It's not at all like a Pynchon novel where, again, you have lots of interweaving lines. We have really basically, we're not even it's not even like you're in the consciousness of the character. That's the other thing. So it's very different from any other book I can think of. I don't know of any other book that tries to do what this does. So it sets out to set these facts that seem to be unreeling from this character's mind, but they're too far back. So not really reeling from her mind. They're a kind of a postmodern list, a collage of facts funneled through this woman. And the facts are the horrific nightmare of our world, plus the humor of someone looking at that world. For example, I'm just going to drop in at random a passage I remember liking. The fact that the whole world's full of PFOA, the fact that there's PFOA in Teflon, Scotchgard, Gore-Tex, dental floss, microwave packets, and mascara, and there are turtles stuck in plastic six-pack rings, and bumblebees get killed by pesticides, Roundup, and penguins can't reproduce, and Stacy and all the other girls like her are wasting their lives watching other girls like them put on makeup. She's got an older daughter who sits around watching, I think, YouTube videos of girls putting on makeup. And people get cancer, and schools have shooting drills, and every 20-year-old boy wants to kill somebody or else eat a birthday cake shaped like a woman's sit-me-down upon. The fact that why can't they just go snorkeling or something, deep sea diving, surfing, or photograph birds or climb mountains if they need an outlet, on and on. So the voice, the point of view of the woman is quite funny, and her rage and her anger at this world. And it is one interesting line after another, one interesting passage after another. At the same time, when I'm reading it, I had two problems. I made a joke about it in the review I did, which is it's actually physically hard to hold. And I'm sorry, I don't like to read books on Kindle, but it's actually physically hard to read. And the fact that drove me up the fucking wall. Excuse me, it just drove me up the wall. It was you couldn't really get past that. And if you skimmed it, then you'd find yourself skimming passages. And so that kind of structure of the thing, which I've never seen anyone else do, and the writer really deserves credit for trying this totally difficult thing, I just found impossible not to go in and out of the book. So I went through long passages where I really enjoyed it, long passages where I didn't enjoy it, long times where I threw it out of the bathtub, long times when I actually did sit down and it was a good place. The bathtub was a good place for it. You could actually really sit down and enjoy it. So I don't know. It might win a big awards or something like that. I liked very many things about it. Disliked many facts of having to read the book, and that was difficult for me. I didn't know Lucy Ellmann before, so I enjoyed finding out about her. I went back and read her first book called Sweet Desserts. And I found that I liked and disliked the same things in this small, less ambitious novel, which is about a young girl or young woman who basically has a baby and leaves her husband. Again, I always forget things, so don't correct. I'm sorry if I'm getting this wrong. A week after I read a book, I forget. And she's running away from her husband, and her father's dying. And it doesn't sound like much of a story, but the same quality that makes Ducks interesting makes this really funny and enjoyable. It's really her characters, her voice, her vision of the world is funny, and the way she goes through her adventures, she sort of runs away from things, which is not unlike the character in Ducks, and she's kind of confused by the world. I liked it a lot. It has the same problem that I found in Ducks, to be honest, and I didn't talk about this in the review, which is that there's a kind of a postmodern gimmick, which is that it's a collage of fragments of diet recipes and what else is in here? There's lots of recipes and things about food and quotes from newspapers, and they all feel kind of random, and they're kind of chopped up like little kind of cutouts. What did Burroughs call them? Cutouts or something? And they're kind of random and they're fit in. And I don't think you need them. I think they should have thrown those out. They don't. It's a kind of a postmodern gimmick that you might see Barthélemy do in 5 pages, and I didn't really like that part. But I skipped all those parts. I wish I could have skipped some of the phrases in the other book and enjoyed the book a lot. So this is very much worth reading. Okay, I'm going to shut up now. Again, that was kind of a mixed. There was one of my few mixed bathtub reviews, but it certainly there's things about it I'll never forget. Things I'm glad I actually read it, but I don't know if I'd read it again. All right, bye.